What is going on, Roland Empire here, guys, to give you a video I want to talk about now. For me, one of the best. It's almost like a film, but it's a show series, 13 parts, I think, of an incredible show I've seen in the last few years for sure. And I just want to get my thoughts. It makes sense with what I've explained, guys. It makes sense. I want to talk about Megalobox. This one, it's a story about a guy that's just going up through the ranks, trying to do, whatever he can to make a buck with his, with this little youngling of a follower and this mentor he has. And he'll do anything he can to, you know, get into any kind of fights he has to do, any fights to just kind of have a reputation. He has his reputation to maintain and all. It's almost kind of a classic like a boxing 101 kind of story. But yeah, it's all about him and just the credibility he can. And what works so much of this is, if you know already what the style is of this, it's nice to see this kind of go back to a certain roots. The way the artwork is in this, that's what makes it so good. Now in the modern time, which I've said is okay. I'm a fan of all these kind of recent shows of how it's more glitz and glam of the style of artwork. The artwork is fine. It's just nice to get a certain new show now revisit this kind of look. This look now, hey, a lot of things like this, a lot of things are revisiting that kind of stuff. But for this, it works. It works, and a lot of this also harpens back with a character like this guy named Joe. So original but name, but still, it's really good because just how he earns that title, how he has a story with this, the trials, the tribulations, everything. And this guy is a nice representation of a character, how they were in the past and now done modern. It's a nice unique take. There's this whole mob element also in where his trainer, sometimes they're at odds because there's these certain bets being placed, and you find it very understandable even though it's not something that you fully agree with. But the dynamic of what goes on with Joe's mentor and Joe, you really want to see as best as you can. They are like a nice little family, but it's a family that has so much tension, so much adversity. There's so much drama going on, but it's still an entertaining story. Very likable characters. You feel that like this story. This is a nice way to show how it's not all perfect, but also the character is not too flawed. There's a sense where you still believe in him. There's this heroism because you want to see him, and he always has whatever he can. So like, if you root for a story of like this kind of, for wrestling, for boxing, for matches, you want this kind of character for this. It's still really nice though. They still have a little bit of a hope in him. So it's an overall entertaining kind of series to go through. Some people have said the ending might be weak, but I like the way the whole story to the ending played out. For me, is as satisfying as it is. As long as still was enough for like me character payoffs and all, which it always is. The objective subjective, I get it, objective and the subjective route is how it views. But I had an interesting time. The music that is brought back that complements this kind of style for this kind of show is really good. And the way like the direction of all this is done, again, like, that's right, it knows the way the style is it's very justifiable for this, but it's still really good. Like the scenes that are, for the boxing and all that, they're very intense as they can be. They put the right pace of how intensive the intensiveness is, but then also the quieter moments when you see Joe just interacting with everybody. Again, this feels very nostalgic, but it's very modern. It's a very modern take now. Like, it's something for my adulthood. I really like it. Like, people say like childhood, right? Childhood now, adulthood. This is something that definitely does stand out for me, and like that I will be able to reminisce. But it's nice to, again, just see something of this kind of caliber, this style, just be brought up and nowadays and all. And it's an entertaining, just a lot of this like ride, because you get these kind of villains, but they're also like these mafia kind of like villains. But again, it's not really too black and white. Joe is the good guy and all, and you see him, be likable, but he has to be tough when he has to be tough in a certain way. But again, there is so much to kind of just like enjoy, and I like the just, you know what could it tackle with the tackling messages and all these boxers he has to go with, they're all like mechanical and whatnot. He does it old fashioned. So take that how you interpret of what that could mean. For me, I know there's a certain line that can kind of mean. It just means kind of like how like the original old fashioned, you know, not cheating, so to speak. The the right way is the way to be done, and you know, whether however you get through this, you know, series, I just I like that it was just it did represent a realism, but it also still made it so entertaining. It just really feels like a really good film, like a really good like 13-part series. You know, for me, guys, yeah, I like the Rocky and Creed films. So if I can like the Rocky and Creed films, I guess is the way I like it too with this. It's like, you know, Spike and Mugen. It's like that character, Spike and Mugen, but brought in with the Rocky Balboa and the Apollo Creed universe. That's kind of what this is. And so, yeah, like it's nice to know that, you know, there are characters like Joe and all that that you could just really root for. And this is like a nice way to just kind of have, you know, anime, but then bring in with the, you know, like a live action, like a Rocky and Creed would be. So if you're like, if you're a sucker for that, you could be. But this could be Acquire. Okay, it could be Acquire, but I don't think this is a bad series. I think it's still overall really good, and I like the whole, yeah, like you know, some things may not turn out how it is. You have to hear a lot of people's sides of the story. They give enough time to kind of, if there is a plot, like a plot you have to follow, you will have a reasoning why. Like a lot still does pay off. I like that the series does have so many elements that does pay off, and I thought it was very satisfying to kind of give these characters certain certain redemptions from certain points of view, and it's just, and really is just a really good show that I think should be really well, you know, checked out and all. So yeah, I really did like this. Let me know, guys, what you thought. If you saw this, if you weren't really a fan, let me know your reasons. If you liked it, and do you think it's one of the best ones? How much did you like enjoy it? You know, I like to know all this. You know, just let me know in the all of this in the comments below, guys. Like I always say, guys, these are just my thoughts and opinions. I really think this show should be like checked out. I think it's underrated. Definitely is underrated. It's an entertaining show, and it's a really well just investment of a good show. Just to have a good time, guys. So all this in the comments below, and as always, roll an empire, laugh, smile, repeat.